Okay, I think my daily question is, what is the first thing that you think of when you think of picnics? Like first thought.
Gingham blanket.
That's what I was going to say. Like red and white.
And then maybe a wicker basket.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then grapes, cheese, and I don't know if there's any other food.
Are all of your picnics like charcuterie?
I don't know, but that feels like picnic. I don't know.
I know we'll get into this in a little bit because the whole premise of this show is about picnics.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that the food has to be consistent in order for it to be a picnic. Like,
sure.
If you had a picnic without grapes, would it still be a picnic?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's just what comes to mind when I think picnic.
But mine's like sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
Not usually at a picnic table, though.
No.
Picnic table, it's in the name, but I don't really count it unless you're on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had a picnic at a picnic table, or at least nothing that I've considered a picnic.
Right. Yeah. Like we've taken the kids to a park once and had lunch at one of the tables there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would have counted if we had sat on the ground, but because we sat at the table, I don't know if it counts.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get haters for that.
Yeah.
What classifies a picnic then?
That's a good question. I should have looked it up before this episode, but I feel like a picnic is you pack food to bring somewhere outdoors and you set up in the environment, which I think is why a picnic table doesn't count for me. I don't know if I count that as the environment or setting up in the environment.
Wikipedia says, a picnic is a meal taken outdoors, al fresco, as part of an excursion, especially in scenic surroundings such as a park, lakeside, or other place affording an interesting view, or else in conjunction with a public event such as preceding an open-air theater performance, and usually in summer or spring. It is different from other meals because it requires free time to leave home.
Can you say that last line one more time?
It is different from other meals because it requires free time to leave home.
Is that the AI summary?
No, this is on Wikipedia.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
What a terrible way to say it.
Historically in Europe, the idea of a meal that was jointly contributed to and enjoyed out of doors was essentially to picnic. From the early 19th century. Picnickers like to sit on the ground on a rug or blanket. Picnics. Why is it so hard to say that word? Picnics can be informal with throwaway plates or formal with silver cutlery and crystal wine glasses.
Oh gosh, can you imagine?
Tables and chairs may be used, but this is less common. Okay, so less common.
Less common. So it's still applicable.
Well, have you seen those like fancy picnics?
Nope.
Oh, there's like this whole business now. We should definitely do one time because I think you'd really enjoy it.
Okay.
But essentially you hire somebody. This is like their full-time job.
Okay.
Or maybe
a professional picnicker?
Yeah. They set up these fancy picnics where they literally have like throw pillows that each person sits on.
Whoa.
And they set up this it's like a tiny table.
Yeah.
Almost like think about in like Asian culture when you sit on the ground.
Yeah, like
to
a
eat.
Japanese table.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like that, but outside, and there's like pillows to sit on, and it's fancy. We'll have to look up pictures after this because I think you would love to attend one of those.
That definitely sounds like me. The more bougie.
It's very bougie. So like the crystal wine glasses would be at that picnic. But we have never had glass at our picnics.
Nope, never. I think now is as good a time as any for us to bring up one of my favorite picnic memories, which is where we went to Mueller State Park together. We were just dating and you had planned out the whole thing and packed a picnic for us. We go to Mueller, find a little spot within the glade and took some pictures. And right as we were taking some pictures on like a timer on your Rebel,
Yep.
horses walk by in the distance. And so we have a picture of us in this picnic reading a book with horses walking past.
It's the most perfect picture.
It is a perfect picture. What wasn't perfect about that picnic was that you packed a bottle of wine because we were 22 and of course still drinking a lot because that's what you do and forgot to pack anything to open that bottle of wine.
I thought it was a twist off.
So from now on, even if we're not having alcohol at a picnic, I feel like there's this part of me
that always packs a bottle opener. Yeah. And I'm trying to think about the foods that were in that. I mean,
you had chicken salad.
Oh, did I make chicken salad?
Yep, you did.
Okay. Well,
I'm almost positive.
It was probably chicken salad sandwiches then, and like some chips and fruit. And I don't know if I packed a dessert or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I feel like typically it would be summery type foods in a picnic.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, obviously, I mean, it's 4 degrees outside.
Right now.
We're not going to go for a picnic right now. That would be awful.
But we have done an indoor picnic. It was actually one of our first ever dates. Maybe we weren't even dating, ? I don't know. We were in the basement and you like laid out a blanket and we like made a freezer pizza and ate it on the ground in your basement. And it was actually really sweet.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like we exchanged Christmas gifts at the same time.
No.
My memories are just colliding.
I don't think that's the same.
So I feel like that was the night I got shoes from you.
Maybe. I also do give you random gifts sometimes. So maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But
yeah, so I guess you could do a picnic inside.
If it's on the ground?
Yeah.
Like it counts if it's on the ground?
Here's the thing. Our whole act like a child night where you make macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets and you make a pillow fort in the living room and watch old Disney movies. Does that technically count as a picnic then? What separates that sort of event from an indoor picnic?
I don't think picnics typically have overhead hangings.
So you can't have a picnic in a tent?
No, but you can in a house? What?
Can you have it in a gazebo?
No.
But what about the picnic tables under gazebos?
We already established that you can't have it at a picnic table.
Okay, so we're just saying a picnic table doesn't count.
There can be no tables.
Okay.
Unless it's a mini sitting
a
at table.
Approved picnic.
A Japanese styled table.
Japanese.
At one of those fancy picnics.
Okay.
That we'll have to do. Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. What element, besides a can opener or a bottle opener, now that we've established that, do you really want to have well thought out when it comes to a picnic? Because I have a really good answer to this, and I want to know what your answer is.
The format or the structure with which you will be consuming the food. Because I think that there's a real problem where if you're packing just finger foods, do I have something to put my finger foods in to hold on to, or am I having to grab from a communal set? If it's not just finger foods, is it a sandwich that I'm going to be able to set down? Do I have napkins that are going to blow away, or is it a plate? I think.
Do you have a preference?
Well, I think it just depends on. I think it's just the well thought through, right?
Okay.
If you're packing soup for a picnic, I don't care. It's weird as long as I have a bowl and a spoon, right?
I guess.
But if you're giving it to me in a thermos,
and it comes in a thermos.
I'm not as big a fan, right? Because I don't feel like that was.
You would pour it out from the thermos into the bowl.
Right, but you're still saying. But if you just give me the thermos, because I feel
said drink this soup.
Yeah.
What are we in 5th grade?
Well,
at lunch.
I think sometimes with picnics.
No, you didn't. You were homeschooled.
I was homeschooled. What were you about to tell me about normal culture?
I had a Barbie lunchbox and it had a thermos, and sometimes I think my mom would put soup in it.
Which is, it's not inappropriate, but I feel like there's enough times on picnics where the person making the food just doesn't think through how that food is going to be consumed.
Yes.
And so they just pack the thermos, or they pack everybody an individual thermos.
Like that one time, it wasn't even a picnic, but somebody told me to bring bowls and I misread it as towels and brought paper towels.
Yeah.
And they were like, how are we supposed to eat this? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we needed bowls.
So that's the part that I think needs to be thought through. How are you going to be consuming the food? Because I don't care. You could bring barbecue, you could bring soup, you could bring sandwiches, salad, whatever. As long as I have a comfortable, reasonable way to consume that food, I'm probably going to be happy. Okay. I just don't like it when it's like, here's charcuterie. You don't have your individual plate. You just have to reach over into everything else.
And then you don't even know how much you've consumed because you don't see it in front of you.
Yeah.
Which could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Or even worse, we've done this before, is where you just have the containers that you bought the things from the store in. And yeah, so that would be mine. What was yours?
Mine is, if you're doing a traditional picnic on the ground, is to have a thick enough blanket so that the pine needles don't poke your booty. Which hopefully you're not always having a picnic in like an evergreen place. But like when we were doing at Mueller, it was just pokey. I don't know if we had a good enough blanket.
Oh, probably not.
Probably not. But like that's something that I think about now of like, oh, it needs to be thick or I need to make sure that I find grass to sit on because I will not sit on pokey ground. And that's something that's important to me.
Yeah, I feel like location has a big part to play in picnicking too. Because especially if you find a really nice one with lumbar support rocks.
Oh, fancy.
That would be optimal for me.
We're going to have to look up these fancy picnics.
Yeah.
I feel like our friend
now.
Brandy actually has set some of them up before.
We'll just pay her to do one. We'll do it as a date. We'll go so bougie, just you and me.
Yeah, it would probably cost like $300 or something.
Well, we'll just forego Madrigal one year.
Okay, well, what else did you want to talk about with regards to picnics?
Well, I think what foods typically or preferably you would want to picnic. Because I can think of a lot of different types of picnic, and I feel like that really makes the biggest difference. Like you have the location that is a huge impact on your experience of the picnic.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going to a park, I feel like who cares? Bring whatever food.
Yeah, because like, does a cookout count as a picnic if you sit on the ground?
I guess if it's a big event where, like, I think your job's family event.
Yeah. Was a picnic, even though we had Chick-fil-A on the ground.
Right. I guess I would count that as a picnic because you're sitting on a blanket.
I guess.
I don't know.
And how we're just questioning this whole episode. What even is a picnic?
Right. It's basically
eating outside.
It's what Bree did earlier. We're just going to say picnic enough times that it loses all meaning.
Yeah.
And try to rediscover it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's hard because my first thought when I think of picnics is summer and kids.
Yeah.
And so I'm like PB&J, goldfish, watermelon, or other fruits, maybe some fruit snacks and like juice boxes or water.
Very kid picnic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I doubt I'd be able to bring a popsicle because it'd melt.
Yeah. Did you do many picnics as a kid?
I think so. But I don't know if it was. Okay, nope. I feel like maybe I did a couple, but it was very much that, or it was just like my memories latching on to all the times I ate outside.
Right.
And the times that I ate outside were at like swim lessons or tennis lessons, because I did those in like the same day one year, and we would eat lunch. And also the times that I ate outside were on boats, like on my parents' boats. And so we'd be like eating chips and salsa like all day. But I don't know if I would consider that a picnic.
I mean, I'm fit
eating
the
outside,
definition, right?
But I'm on water. There's no blanket that I'm sitting on. But yeah,
I don't know. I think I feel like we have to count those as picnics. I think
eating outside is a picnic.
Unless we're saying that the event for which you are eating outdoors is the picnic itself.
So like if you go to a concert and you eat outside, is it a picnic?
I think so.
Or is it only a picnic if the concert labels it, come for our concert and picnic?
Okay, so then they have the authority to call it, but we don't?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I think you have to count it. I think that counts as a picnic.
Okay, so eating outside. So then that means that eating at a table outside would be a picnic.
I guess so. We're going to get nowhere in this episode.
We've just talked in a complete circle.
We've discovered that there is no such thing as a picnic. That's where we're coming to. Or
it's simply eating outside.
Yeah.
Wherever.
So if I eat outdoors in a restaurant,
is that a picnic?
Is that a picnic? I'd like your picnic seating, please.
If you just like take your soup and if I made soup today and I just walk outside and I just eat it standing in the 4-degree weather, is that a picnic?
Yeah, if you're sitting at the patio watching the kids play in the sandbox.
Is that a picnic?
Is that a... We stumbled into an existential crisis here.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I guess so. Again, we're in this place where the taxonomy of food is so loose.
No, I couldn't handle the hate if we actually went through with like creating a taxonomy.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, we have established that this is something that needs to be done, and we make it. We would get so much critique.
But how funny would it be if we won like a Nobel Prize for creating and establishing the taxonomy of food?
Sandwiches are burgers and burgers are sandwiches, or whatever it is.
I think it would have to be burgers or sandwiches, because sandwiches is the more broad category.
Yeah. It was just the first one that came to my mind.
It's very complicated. Okay. let's eschew, which is the vocab word for today. Let's eschew everyone else's definition of picnics.
Okay, we can't even come up with one of our own.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's come up with our very own.
Okay.
And make a determination, and then we'll run it through some of these what ifs.
We kind of did, and then we talked ourselves out of it.
We did, but that was like trying to figure out like what is a picnic. We're now defining it. We get to say, we're saying we have the authority to make this determination. I'm going to say soup is not a picnic food.
Agreed.
Okay, great. So if you're having soup outside,
don't.
Not a picnic.
It's a hiking food.
So,
I
okay,
don't know, actually.
Here's one that I think we need to hash out because I don't know if I necessarily feel like the blanket is a quintessential element of a picnic.
Could you be in lawn chairs?
Oh.
But you even said the first thing you think of when you think of a picnic
is
the blanket. So how can you not have a blanket?
Well, because I'm thinking about like sitting on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to sit on the blanket the entire time. So maybe the blanket has to be there for the food. Maybe the blanket's your table.
Okay, so you're sitting on the dirt?
Or on the table.
You're going downhill.
Okay.
Real
It's
fast.
going downhill. This is the worst episode ever. It's because we finally have camera support. And so it's just a bad episode.
Mm-hmm.
Really want me to waste my effort. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. If you are sitting on something man-made, it's not a picnic.
Okay, so
No, 'cause
rock
then the
is
blanket.
good. Okay, never mind.
If you're sitting on something man-made other than a blanket,
Okay, so chair, no.
chair,
Table,
no.
no.
Yep.
Rock, yes.
Yes.
Dirt, yes.
Yes.
Grass, yes.
I might make accommodations for if you're in the sand and you dig out your own chair.
Man-made.
What the heck? What is this episode?
I don't think that's man-made. You couldn't transport that.
But it's still made by a human.
Okay, I can also make a divot with my butt in the dirt.
Okay,
and
so
it would still be man-made.
yeah, okay, great. If you made it out of the environment while you were there,
Yeah, it would be fine.
it's fine. We're gonna get so pedantic in order to have any definition of picnic other than you ate it outside.
Right.
Okay, so that rules out restaurants.
Yeah.
Mostly rules out your backyard because you're probably gonna have something to sit on.
And you could
In
sit
your
in the
backyard.
grass in the backyard.
And if you do, you could count it as a picnic.
Okay.
If you have a blanket.
Well, you said you don't need a blanket. But who would have thought that picnic conversations would be so challenging?
This is the episode that broke us.
I do think it makes for good film and even good listening. I mean,
Okay,
they're probably like just sitting in their car thinking like, what the heck are they even talking about? They're just talking in circles. And I have opinions that I want to share. And you know what, guys? You can share them.
Please do.
Put it on our Spotify.
Okay. No soup. No sitting on anything that you haven't created that day or a blanket. Let's say blanket or some sort of cloth to
It can
put
be
food
a
on.
tablecloth. Sure.
Yeah.
Jacket that you laid on the ground.
Yep. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
If you put your jacket down, because you don't want your food to just be on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Animals.
We're
Stuff.
getting somewhere here.
Do you need a basket? Or
No.
It just needs to be some, like, because we have a picnic backpack.
You're transporting the food somehow outdoors.
Okay. So that doesn't matter.
Yep.
You have food.
You have food. Yeah. If you're going outside sitting on a blanket, that's a nice outdoor experience, but it's not a picnic.
Yeah. It's not a picnic without food. That's right.
We should have started there. Okay.
Number one element you need is not a blanket, it's food.
It's food.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Okay. You can picnic by yourself. I think we can establish that, right?
I guess. It's
Do you-
lame, but yeah, I am going to pack a basket and just picnic with myself at work.
That sounds nice.
In the lawn.
actually.
Yeah, it does.
Bring a book.
Bring a book.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your final like stream of consciousness. It's actually working. Was the time that we had, I'm going to call it a picnic. I don't know if it
Yeah.
is, in hammocks.
Oh.
Did that count as a picnic? Because we were not on the ground. We were suspended in the air.
But
We were outside.
Oh.
We were sitting in something man-made.
Yeah, we were.
So maybe that wasn't a picnic. We were just eating lunch in hammocks. Okay, I've just established it.
Okay.
It's not a picnic.
All right, great. It's a little sad, but I feel better having a clear definition of picnic.
Off the show, we can call it a picnic. Okay.
Great.
Okay, but continue your stream of consciousness.
We're our own commenters. No, that's wrong.
Yeah, we don't even need listeners. We're over here being like, no, you guys are idiots.
We'll fill it out anyways.
I have different opinions than what was stated in the episode.
I went back and listened to this episode a month later, and now I disagree with myself. Okay, so our hammock picnic is not a picnic because we were sitting in something man-made.
In the air. We were not on the ground.
We weren't on the ground. If we had put the hammocks on the ground, it could have counted as our blanket.
Yes.
But that would not be hammocking.
On the ground.
And it was far more complicated to hammock in a
it was pokey.
Oh, yeah, it was.
You wouldn't have wanted to sit on the ground.
Pine needles everywhere. Okay. Any other foods that you would say don't count as picnic foods?
Hot foods don't count.
Any hot food.
Yeah, because think about it. Like if you're actually picnicking, you're probably traveling, like hiking and then having a picnic. Or you're like playing at a park and then you are having a picnic. And keeping the food hot, like if soup doesn't count, which is keeping a food hot, then I don't think like bringing fried chicken. Okay. Unless you're eating it cold.
Right, or it's gotten cold.
Yeah, but like barbecue, I don't think counts.
So your work cookout doesn't count.
Right, because it was hot food.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have to cook the food or if it's warm at the picnic.
I also don't think it counts unless it comes in a bag that you traveled with. So like I don't think.
Yeah, so like cooking hot dogs by a campfire and then eating them on the ground doesn't count as a picnic.
Yeah, you have to like have brought the food in a bag, but it can't be like eating Wendy's.
Yep. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I can't just order food for my picnic.
Everything I'm saying, it's coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, wait, no, wait.
I don't disagree. I don't agree with what I just said.
I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know.
I think you're on the right track, though.
Do you agree with the hot food?
I think I do, because I think it limits it even more to if I'm going to a park and I bring hamburgers and cook them on the grill that's there.
Yeah, that's a cookout.
That's a cookout.
Yeah.
Right? If I am bringing, I would say I think fried chicken, you go to KFC, you grab the chicken, you put it in your backpack or whatever, or even just bring the bucket, sit down on the ground and eat that. I would probably count that as a picnic.
If it traveled in your backpack.
Yeah, because it traveled with you.
And it's not still hot.
Yeah, you didn't cook it at the picnic.
See, but now I'm just questioning it because I feel like there's been times where my friend and I have gone to get like a meal to go.
Yeah.
And then we're like, do you want to have a picnic in the park? And then we go and we sit at a table and we eat.
Well, we can just discredit that one because you sat at a table.
Okay, but
not because of the
maybe
food.
I sat on the ground. I don't remember exactly.
Then I guess it would count as a picnic.
But I brought hot food, not in a bag, except for the Wendy's bag or whatever.
Okay, do we want to go?
And I traveled from my car like 5 feet.
Since this episode literally doesn't matter anyways and shouldn't probably go to air anyways.
I think it's funny.
Do we just want to say it has to come in a wicker basket or a picnic
tote of some sort? Sure.
So if I take my KFC and just dump it into my tote,
then it counts.
Then it counts. Great. Yeah. I'm okay with that definition.
Okay, so
I feel like clarity is better than sanity at this point.
Okay, blanket, basket, / contraption, sitting on the ground. Outside, not in man-made contraptions. Okay, anything else?
Is a picnic its own event that's separate than other things? Or can you have a picnic at a baseball arena?
Okay, I think I have a bigger definition, maybe. Who even knows at this point? I do think it needs to be like whoever's sitting around the blanket only has that food. So if you're playing lawn games, you probably
Okay.
have maybe multiple families.
Okay.
And in order for it to count to have a picnic and lawn games, the other families would also have to be having picnics of food that they brought.
So those
not
are
that we
separate
brought.
picnics.
Separate picnics make it okay to play lawn games.
Okay. So
I don't know.
so it doesn't necessarily matter that it's
I mean,
not,
I guess you could just do it with your own family, and I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But in my brain, anytime we've ever played lawn games has been at more like a cookout type
right.
thing.
Okay, so let me go back to the question a little bit. Does a picnic have to be its own event, or can it be in conjunction with any other event as long as you're
According
meeting
to Wikipedia,
predefined?
according to Wikipedia, it can be in conjunction with another event because it even said like at a concert or.
Do we want that to be true of our definition?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because you could like watch a movie on the lawn.
Yep.
And picnic and be watching a movie and it would still be a picnic.
Okay, so
unless
now
you
we have,
disagree.
well, I'm trying to think of ways that I can break it now. Because if I can't break it, then we're in a good place.
Okay. Yeah.
I go to the Vibes Stadium, our baseball team,
Okay.
apparently. I should get points for knowing that.
You do, because I still call it Sky Talks.
Thanks. I'm a sporty dude. I know my sports.
Just like any sporty dude would say.
I go to the one section of every baseball field that's just a hill.
Has a lawn. Yep.
I bring a blanket.
Mm-hmm. They
I,
won't let you bring food in. So
I bring my
Yep.
backpack.
they all check it.
That's fine. That's fine. It's empty.
Okay.
I go to the stadium.
Vection. No.
No, that's an oven. I go to that place. Concessions. I go
Can
to
we
the
please keep that in there?
go to the concession. I'm a sporty dude. I know this stuff. I go to the concession stand. I buy a hot dog.
I put it in my backpack.
I put it in my backpack. I carry it to the hill.
Did you bring a blanket?
I brought the blanket. I sit down on my blanket. I pull out my warm hot dog from my tote and eat it. Picnic?
I think I have a new rule.
Okay, great.
I think you have to make the food somehow or put it together.
Okay, and putting the condiments on top of my hot dog
Doesn't
doesn't
count.
count.
But like I made the chicken salad
Okay.
for our date, or I made the sandwiches and I put them together.
Does
for our date.
KFC still count then?
No.
Oh.
If you make your fried chicken, yes.
Oh, we're going hardcore then.
Yep. And I mean, it doesn't, obviously, you can't make grapes unless you grow a tree in your backyard. I'm not talking about that, but it's like elements that you have put together, at least maybe with one of them that you facilitated fully.
So if I buy KFC and made potato salad.
Maybe.
Because I think my baseball example feels like it really stretches the line.
Yeah. I need to change the stipulation that I just made about the food being made by you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I, like for our Mueller State Park picnic, I made the food and you consumed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you didn't make the food. And the reason why I need to make that stipulation is because if we hire somebody to do a fancy picnic, she will have made the food / purchased it. Oh, I don't know.
Maybe it doesn't matter who prepares the food,
Okay.
but it matters how the food is presented for consumption. So you buy KFC,
Okay.
but then you put it in some sort of container for the picnic. So you don't just bring the bucket,
Okay.
right? You put it in a Tupperware, you put it in a bowl, you put it in something like even a bag, right?
Yeah.
And then as everybody's there, maybe you have a wicker basket, right? And inside the basket is your chicken, and you're reaching inside that Ziploc bag to grab the chicken, right?
Okay.
It's different than if I go to a restaurant, order Chinese food, and have my styrofoam box, and you just pull a styrofoam box out of your wicker
Mhm.
basket, and that's what I'm eating, right? Because I don't think I'd count that. But if you put it on a plate for me, right?
So your hot dog at the stadium probably comes in foil or in one of those
Yep.
little trays.
And so if
Does that
I
count?
needed it to be a picnic,
You would just take
would
that
have to
off
take
of
it
that
off.
plate and put it on your own plate?
I would have to put it in my own napkin that I brought.
Your own napkin that you
Right?
brought. Just take this out of my
This
pocket.
is my picnic
move
napkin.
my hot dog to
Yep.
my pocket napkin.
And then I think I'm probably okay to call it a picnic and feel bad about myself that I had to do that. But
In order
it
to
would
call
count.
it a picnic. Also, have we ever eaten KFC together in our marriage?
No, we've eaten Popeyes a lot.
Yeah, it's just funny that we used that as the example. We've literally never consumed it
I think
together.
the only time that I've done a picnic with fried chicken, it was KFC.
See, I
That's
think mine was like King Supers.
Oh,
Fried chicken.
See, I
which
think
is
that's
so good.
better anyways.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The only thing good at KFC is their biscuits.
Is there a difference then?
We can do a fried chicken episode.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay.
That sounds great. Let's do it when we're not on Whole30 so we can do a test out.
Yeah,
too?
that's another thing to note. I mean, we kind of did at the beginning, but it might have been before we were recording. We're also doing Whole30 right now, and so talking about all these delicious foods.
Yeah, it's 4 degrees outside and we're on Whole30. Picnics are not in the game right now.
Although we could do it.
I guess so, because we've defined it.
Can we do it inside? Can you have an indoor picnic?
No, because a house is man-made and you didn't make it that day out of the environment.
Okay, so you can't have a floor picnic.
You
It's not
cannot
thing.
have a floor picnic.
What is it then? Just a meal on the floor?
Yeah,
If I call it a picnic, will you, from this
A
day
floor
forward,
meal.
call me out on it? Be like, that's not a picnic.
yes, I will. I will be pedantic with this with you for the rest of my life.
Golly, guys, when we chose this topic, we just had no idea.
It sounded so benign.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
And man, we are just so good at making simple things complicated.
Yes, we are. We are.
And
And coming out with something that we can stand by until we listen to it again and disagree with ourselves. Yeah. So when you have dinner with your people tonight, just bring this conversation up, and I'm gonna twist it a little bit.
okay.
It's not, the goal is not to see if everybody agrees.
Hmm.
The goal is to make it as complicated as we've made it today.
Or figure out what hills they're gonna die on. Of like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
has to be a red and white checkered blanket in order
Yep.
for it to count, or whatever.
It's good.
Like,
That's good. Because I think the hill I would die on is the environmental seating.
I just feel like I've died.
You don't know which hill, but you died on it. You're just so lost.
I don't even know.
Well, for my edification for this episode, 1, I will eat food anywhere with you, regardless of what it's called.
Yeah.
But also, this feels like one area where your convictions are not very strong, because everywhere else your convictions are very strong and you really know what you believe about
it's true.
the things.
You found the
right?
one thing.
I found the one weakness in this integralness of Bree, where she knows what she believes, and it's about picnics.
Well, what might just happen is I'm going to continue to call my floor picnics in the living room a picnic.
And I'll call you out for it.
Yeah.